If you think YouTube is hard, then today's episode is going to open your eyes to just how easy YouTube can be by using the lean YouTuber method. Most creators need to stop complicating the video creation process and instead should just copy this simple framework to get videos up online. This framework is not only going to allow you to create more videos, but also better videos so that you can start seeing success on YouTube. I know that's a big claim, but just go ahead and keep on watching and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, I know that was a big claim, Grant, but hopefully we can shed some light on just kind of how to make this whole process of creating YouTube videos easier and without having to sacrifice like the quality of the videos. Because you got to make good videos too. Would you agree?
I would agree. Making bad videos generally not something I would recommend, and you very much can make excellent videos on a low budget.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's kind of the pitch that most people give is, hey, all you need is your iPhone and you can be the next big thing on YouTube. I mean, it's not that simple, but today's episode is exactly about covering how you can do it kind of in a lean way, right? So this whole idea of the lean YouTuber came to me when I was reading a book called The Lean Startup. And I thought, you know what, these kind of things should apply to YouTubers as well to kind of get them up and running and start creating videos. So the first kind of way to start creating a video is to come up with the video topic. So before we start talking about coming up with video topics and stuff, Grant, I want to kind of get your opinion on this because this is something I've been thinking about a while. And that's what's the difference between like a video topic and a video idea? Is there a difference? Does one come before the other? And are they the same thing or what?
That is an excellent question. I've never been asked that before, despite consulting for years. So, what is the difference between a video topic and a video idea? Is there a difference? There is definitely a difference. So, to me, a video idea is more about the video itself. It's the story you're going to tell in the video. You probably have some very specific ideas of what you want to do. Maybe you already know how it ends, but you don't know how it begins, but you have the idea. A video topic to me is more based in keywords. So it's more SEO based. You can research video topics. So for instance, if something is trending, let's say there's some YouTuber drama, some YouTuber got into some heat. He's maybe messaging people he shouldn't be messaging or whatever is going on. That's a video topic, right? You're going to cover that situation in that YouTuber. But like your video idea is more like the finer points. What is your conclusion going to be? What is your stance going to be? And so to me, topic is almost like top down. There's a trend, so you cover it and then you fill in the video from there. Video idea is more like bottom up. You know what you want the video, you know the story you want to tell. You haven't necessarily come up with a title yet. You don't necessarily know how it's going to be marketed yet, but you have kind of the creative foundations of the video. So to me, the video topic it's more like business and marketing minded, whereas video idea is more creatively minded.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, like the topic could be something very broad, right? Like your topic could be email marketing. That's always the one I come up with. And that could be your topic. That's what you're going to talk about. But your idea could be like, I sent 10,000 emails out. Here's what happened. Something like that. Would you agree with that? Like that's kind of how it should play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. It's
okay.
That feels like a strong example to me.
Okay, good. So it seems like you kind of come up with maybe the topic first, like kind of what you want to talk about in your video. Then you kind of think about the idea of like how you're going to present that topic. And then the next step would be to come up with the title. Is there any tips that you have for this kind of pre-production phase of nailing all three of those?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So a very specific recommendation of mine. There's a tool called Claude. It's an AI. It's like ChatGPT. I find Claude, CLAUDE, is the best at coming up with YouTube titles and generating YouTube descriptions, things like that. For whatever reason, it just seems to be the best. So what I like to do is give Claude a prompt and say something like, give me 20 YouTube titles based on the topic of I sent 10,000 emails and here's what happened. Even though that in and of itself is a great title, Claude can help spit out a bunch more versions of it. And even if 90% of it is garbage, you're kind of looking for the gold in there, and you might find certain phrases or keywords that an AI comes up with that allows you to make an even better title. Like rarely does AI ever give me a title and I use it exactly as is. Especially ChatGPT likes to throw colons in there, make like really long titles, and it just doesn't really work. But yeah, Claude is a fantastic tool for coming up with titles, and that is definitely a part of my process and has been for a few months now.
Okay, so there's your first tip, right? As far as the lean YouTuber goes, is to use AI. Okay, use AI to help you come up with your titles. Kind of a shortcut, kind of a good way to kind of use it as like a creative director in a way. And really kind of the thing you should take away from this right now is use tools, right? There's a lot of tools out there. Another tool to kind of come up with titles and topics and stuff is 1 of 10. Have you heard of that tool, Grant?
No, I have not.
Okay, so this is a new tool that is I think like a Google Chrome plugin or add-on that kind of shows you outlier videos. So what an outlier video is a video that's basically triggered the algorithm, gotten hundreds of thousands of views or just a lot of views, and is an outlier video for that channel. So for example, that channel might have, 5,000 subscribers. All of their videos are getting, 1,000 views, 800 views, 2,000 views, and then all of a sudden one video that they post goes and gets 200,000 views. That would be considered an outlier. So this tool, 1 of 10, I think it's called, yeah, it's 1 of 10 because it's called that because when you post a video within the first few hours, YouTube will give you kind of a rating on that video, and you're looking to get a 1 of 10 rating. If you get a 10 of 10, that means that it's not getting the normal amount of views that your videos typically get. Get a 1 of 10 means it's kind of an outlier. It's really getting promoted by the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, what this tool does is it allows you to kind of scroll through YouTube, look through channels on the homepage you can see, and it'll give like a rating on each YouTube video to tell you like what kind of outlier, like what level of outlier it is, whether it's not an outlier or whether it is an outlier. And you can see that. And then you can say, okay, well, this video topic here seems to be doing well. How can I kind of spin it or use it as inspiration to create a video in my own niche, kind of using that same kind of topic, title, framework? Now, a lot of people are talking about how do you make it on YouTube? Oh, well, look through other channels, look through competitors, see which videos have done well, and then make your own video similar to that. What's your opinion on that, Grant? Like, I know that is a strategy, and I know that, I mean, that is the strategy that everyone's talking about. But to me, that seems a little bit like, I don't know, just not creative. And like, how are we going to like move forward as creators when everybody's just recreating the same videos? What's your opinion on that strategy?
Yeah, I generally don't like the copycat strategy. I
Yeah.
think it's boring. I think it does work to a certain extent. Like,
Yeah.
if you do something completely creative and new, nobody has ever seen before, you have no idea how it's going to perform. Like, it could be the next big thing. It could get 0 views and you put 100 hours into it, right? But with the copycat strategy, you take a video, you take the topic, and maybe you even I mean, I've seen, like Casey Neistat copycats who will like go scene by scene and essentially like recreate what he did. And that was a long time ago, but he actually complained about that in one of his videos very eloquently, I might add. Long story short, it works. The copycat strategy will get you views. Will it get you respect? Will it get you satisfaction in your life? I'm going to say no. I think, generally speaking, people notice when you're copying things. If you're just trying to go for a cash grab, I feel like maybe there's easier ways to make a bunch of money. You may as well just do like an AI automated kind of channel or something, a faceless YouTube channel. Yeah, I think copycat works, but it's not worth it. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I mean, in the lean YouTuber method, like it's a great way, right? You're new, you're just trying to find easy ways to come up with some video topics. You don't want to try to recreate the wheel. You're not creative. Like for this method, it's a good way to come up with a
Sure.
video topic for sure.
Yeah, I may have
Yeah.
been too hard on it. I think I was probably thinking of some very specific people in mind and being like, ugh. But if as far as the lean YouTuber method, as far as getting your hands dirty for the first time, you're first starting out, I think copying people is a good way to learn how to do things. It's just a matter, I think, of being self-aware and always trying to add something of your own, enough to make the video feel like it was inspired by this person, maybe, but you have your own spin that you explore. And then maybe a few videos down the line, you're not as reliant on somebody else for how your videos are going to play out.
Yeah, and my last piece of advice on this is don't do it with videos that are in the same niche, right? It's great if you can go outside your niche and go see what blew up on this gardening channel and I'm in the business niche or something like that. That makes a lot more sense to me and is a lot more kind of just, I don't know, genuine than doing it being in some niche, going to your competitor and just basically copying their video. So, okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next kind of question here. So, how can you apply the lean YouTuber method, meaning just an easy way to get this done when it comes to like setting up your studio?
hmm So, first, you want to know what kind of video you're trying to make. So, when I was starting out, my studio was literally just a microphone in my room. That was it. Like, I tried to get as close to the microphone as I could without, having like popping or plosive noises, the puh sound into the mic. That was it. I bought, I think it was a Blue Yeti, like still a good mic, and that was my studio. So I would say the biggest thing is invest in good sound equipment. The Blue Yeti is like $100, I believe. Um, Pretty lean, I would say. You can go with the Snowball too. But anyway, point is, all I had was a microphone and some editing software. And that was enough to launch a very successful YouTube channel. Now, if you want to film things, you can always use your phone. As long as the sound quality is good, the video quality isn't as important. Like a lot of people, they get it backwards. They think the video quality is more important. Cameras generally are a lot more expensive than microphones. So you can end up dropping a lot more on a camera. But if you spend a few $100s on an excellent microphone, then I think your money's going to go a lot further. And then, cover your walls in blankets, just or sound foam if you can afford it. But even just literally push pins and bed sheets on your walls. Like I've done that before. It works very well. It's good sound dampening. It's cheap. Most of us have some extra bed sheets lying around, and I would recommend it. So yeah, just set up your phone, set up a lapel mic or a Blue Yeti or whatever you're doing. Pin some sheets to the walls, and you'll be good. Use a natural light source if you can. Just like try to film during the day with light coming through the window, and there you go. Like that's not going to cost you more than a couple $100, maybe.
Yeah, and the reason for the blankets on the walls and stuff is because of echo, right? A lot of times you'll sit down, you'll set up your studio, you think you're good to go, and then you hit record and you make the video, and then you listen to it, and you're like, man, this room is so echoey. There's so much echo, and that really destroys your audio. So yeah, the blankets on the wall. When I've ran into those kind of situations, like what I've done is just use the lav mic or the lapel mic, right? If you have a lav mic that's right on you, I mean, even in a echoey room, those things normally don't transmit any kind of echoes, so there's a good tip there. And so yeah, I think echo is the main thing you want to worry about when it comes to audio. So okay, let's talk a little bit more about this lean YouTuber method when it comes to scripting. Like, how can we make scripts that don't take days to create? And my whole thing is I've spent days writing scripts word for word just to scrap them in the end because I didn't like them. So what's like a lean way to do that?
hmm So I like creating an outline of what I'm going to talk about versus writing a full out script. Now, I do both. It's not like one is better than the other, but if you're worried about wasting time, just creating an outline of the points you want to cover and then saying them to the camera, that is going to be a better use of time. Not only because you're not spending all this time writing, you're just outlining, but also the way that you speak to the camera is generally more natural when you just have like a point in your head and then you elaborate on that point versus reading every single line by line. It takes way more practice and way more dedication to read with a teleprompter line by line in a way that is compelling versus just having an outline and speaking from the heart most of the time. So if that works with what you're doing, I would recommend just, going kind of point by point. What am I trying to cover in this video? And going from there. And I think you'll find a lot of YouTubers don't script things. You know, they just kind of have an idea and they run with it. It's not so much about getting it perfect. It's just about knowing what they're talking about and talking about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to know what you're talking about. If you actually are like an expert in the field that you're talking about, then a simple list or bullet points like that should be enough for you to get out what you want to get out. Now, the dangerous part about outlines and bullet points and stuff is rambling. You got to make sure that you're not just rambling and talking about, stuff that doesn't really mean anything to the video or doesn't add value to the video. So, that's just kind of one quick tip. So, all right, there
And
it
you
is.
can
The
always
lean.
edit out the boring stuff in post. Keep in
Yeah,
mind.
that's true too. Yeah, I mean, if you are editing your own video, you can just edit that out in the post. That's a great tip too. Okay, so we talked about scripting. What about actually like delivering your lines and just hitting record? Like we talked about the studio setup and that kind of stuff. Like, what is the lean method for filming your video?
Well, once you got your studio set up, I guess I'm having trouble understanding the question. So, like, speaking to the camera, is this like, how do I get good at talking to the camera? Is that the essence of the question?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, the biggest thing is just practice, right? Pretty much that's it. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. A lot of people overthink it. They record themselves and then they're watching it back later and they're like, oh my God, this is the worst video that has ever been recorded and I should never do this ever again. I'd say something you can do for free is to acknowledge that voice in your head that's going to be critical of what you're doing. It's going to tell you to stop because, you're not good at this yet. Just compartmentalize that voice the best you can and keep going. Just keep recording videos, keep practicing. And even if, like, let's say you record a video and it wasn't working. Like, I have a client who I'm working with right now. He had to record his first video 3 times because the first 2 times he just couldn't say the words in a way that felt compelling. But third time's the charm. He got it right. And you just, with some guidance from me and my business partner, of course, he was able to do it. So it's really a matter of practice. And just keep that in mind. Practice, practice, practice. Practice is free. All it costs you is time, does not cost money.
Yeah, and you can also, like you said earlier, edit things out, right? Like one thing that I always tell people is have your outline or your script kind of under the camera. You can look down at it, you can read the line, you can look up, you can deliver the line. If you mess up, you can look down and read it again, go to the next line, whatever. So there's a lot of new YouTubers think they have to just one take everything, and that's just not the case. So just keep that in mind as you're filming. Okay, so now we've got it filmed really easily, quickly with this method. Editing. What is the lean YouTuber method when it comes to editing?
I guess I wouldn't recommend the Adobe Creative Suite if you're trying to be lean, because it's like $600 a year for the whole suite. I believe it is less if you're just trying to pay for Premiere or just Photoshop, but there are free editing programs like even iMovie. DaVinci Resolve is free. I think Sony Vegas is. I don't think Sony Vegas is free, but
Yeah.
it's not very expensive. And I believe it's a one-time purchase. Could be wrong about that. But point is, don't go with the Creative Suite, the Adobe Creative Suite, if you are on a budget and you're just getting started. I would recommend DaVinci Resolve. I've heard very good things about it. I have not personally used it. Or if you have a Mac, just use iMovie. Just use iMovie. It'll probably get the job done.
Yeah, and like with, things like iMovie and just these other ones, like kind of the problem you run in with those is like all the templates have been used a trillion times, and if you use them, people kind of know and they kind of call you out. So if you are going to use iMovie, just go minimalist. Minimalist editing, make your cuts. You can still use creativity. It's just you don't want to use all those templates. At least that's my opinion, because they do look kind of corny to me when you see them on YouTube. But still, there's other templates that you can just drop onto the timeline that will work, whether they're like green screen ones where you drop them on, then you have to just remove the green screen off of them and there you go, or whatever. But you can get by on iMovie. I mean, Graham Stephan edited all of his videos on iMovie. I think he still does, actually. And if there's ever a graphic that he needs or wants, like he'll just make it on Photoshop and then just drop it on there as a PNG with a transparent background. And there you go. Now he's got, some flair to his video or whatever. So yeah, like I think the editing part really messes up a lot of people because they like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to create content. They get to it. Oh, now I got to edit. I got to learn how to edit. and then they do maybe edit it on iMovie, and then they do try to render it out, and their computer can't render it out, and then they just quit. That happens a lot. Like, you need to understand too, you need a pretty good computer to render out, like, a 15-minute video. So there's a lot of different parts, I guess, to it.
Totally. Totally.
Okay, now what about thumbnail design? What would be like your minimalist approach or your lean YouTuber method to designing a thumbnail?
So, my biggest recommendations for a gold standard thumbnail that will perform at least pretty well are big face, probably on the right side or the left side, doesn't really matter, but big face of whoever's hosting the video with big text describing what's going on, and maybe like a descriptive image in the middle. But even that is like a maybe. So, again, this is just kind of boilerplate gold standard thumbnail that works. It may not be the most incredible thumbnail, but big face, big text. Like, I mean, come on. And then try to keep the words as few as possible. Sometimes I consult with people and their thumbnails have like 10 words in them, and that can work, but generally, the less words, the better. If you can keep it to 2 to a max of 5 words in your thumbnail, then you're going to be able to make those words very big. It's going to be good, and you're going to be happy. So that's like my really simple recommendation. And then also contrast. So once you got your big face and your big text, like let's say the person who is featured in the thumbnail is wearing red. So a color that contrasts really well with red is blue. So you can make the background blue. And you just want to create as much contrast as you possibly can in the thumbnail, and just be aware of the color of the background versus the color of the foreground, the color of the text, and how it all fits together. You want it to pop, and contrast is the best way to do that. You can Google a color wheel and just, if find your background color on the color wheel and then go to the opposite side of the color wheel and be like, okay, that's going to be my foreground color. There you go. That's how you make a good thumbnail.
Yeah, and one of the things you mentioned was the big face. So what a lot of people do is they will go and take a bunch of photos of themselves with different facial expressions, right? So you only got to do it one time, and then now you have this kind of library of images that you can use, remove the background on all of them. And no matter what the topic of the video is, whether you want to look surprised maybe, or angry or sad, you have it right there, and you can throw it together in a quick and easy way to make your thumbnail. So we have the thumbnail, the title, it's edited, everything's all good. Is there anything else that we're missing that should be included in this lean YouTuber method?
Well, I would say mindset is a big thing. Just keep moving forward, keep figuring out what can I do better, what am I doing well, and try not to overthink your mistakes and things you don't like about your videos. And that's pretty much it. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think of like something more technical, I guess. But, at this point, you've written a video, shot the video, edited the video, made a thumbnail, and, there's SEO. You can use AI tools to generate keywords. You can say, like, hey, Claude, give me 20 tags with on the topic of I sent 10,000 emails and here's what happened. And just kind of use AI to create keywords, find keywords that are relevant. That'll help your video do well. Have AI write a description for you using those keywords that it generates, and then make a better version of that description because it's probably going to be corny because AI wrote it. And just simple things like that will bump your video's chances of doing well.
Yep, no, that's a great thing. I mean, it's all about the mindset, right? If you have the right mindset, you're gonna make it. So that's important. So, all right, guys, there you go. There you have it. That is the lean YouTuber method. I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, please hit subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes or some other platform, you can follow us there as well. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.